Hey, it's your host Dan once again. Today's project, we're going to be upgrading the mirror in the GTO. As you can see, this is the factory mirror. Nothing really special about it. There's no lights on it. It's not auto dimming. It's just your basic mirror. I'm gonna upgrade it with this. This is a mirror I had laying around. It's auto dimming. It has map lights on it, and also a compass and outside temperature too as well. So since I have this just laying around, I figure might as well take that off and put this in. So that's going to be today's project. So first things first, I got to get the mirror off. There's no screw here, but if you're feeling back, there's a little hole, so there's a tab underneath that it slides down to and locks into place. So you just got to get like a little screwdriver, be careful, pry that tab up, and this will slide up and off. I just got to set the camera down because I don't have 6 arms and I don't want to damage anything. I'm going to take a moment and pop the mirror off. Okay, I finally got the mirror off. Probably took me about 5 or 10 minutes. I tried a multitude of screwdrivers up through the slot. They just weren't cutting it, and I didn't want to break the window or damage anything. But what ultimately got it out was this dental tool, which I went up through the slot and I was able to get it on like so, and then put just a little bit of pressure on it, and that released the clips to let the mirror slide off. So I finally got that off. You can set that aside. Here's the mirror I'm going to be putting on. It's not 100% perfect. You can see there's, and the glass is just not perfect, but this will be up by, the headliner, so I'm hoping that I won't notice these when I'm driving. But I'm going to put it in and we'll see how it is. I'll test it out, maybe before I wire it, run it for a few days, see how I like it. This one's held in by a T15, so it's pretty easy to put on. So let's go put it on. Let's go see how it looks. Okay, so I got the new mirror in place. Wire runs up. It's just tucked under the headliner. I pulled the panel for the A-pillar. Typical GM clips stuck in the body. I'll pull those out and put them all back on, so that way everything snaps back together properly. I'm just going to tape it along the edge here, and one of my wires is a little short, so I'm heating up my soldering iron so I can extend this. Well, so my original thoughts were to keep her all 100% stock, but that only lasted about a week and a half here. And look, I'm already digging into her. Ran the wires down. I put the A-pillar panel all back together. Down here in this particular car, the GTO, you've got to undo the 3 screws for this panel right here to move it up and out of the way, because there's a hidden screw underneath for the kick panel. Let's see. Just went over and grounded it right down here into the kick panel. Scraped the paint away, of course. Pretty easy. Your fuse box here, which is up under the knee bolster, I took a test light, and there's a spare fuse right here, but there's one terminal pinned in the fuse box, not on the other side, just one side. So I tested that with a test light, and that gives me power when the key's turned to the on position, and then when it's turned off, you have to pull the key fully out for it to cut power, kind of like the radio. So that's where we tapped off for the power. Fuse holder off here to the side, just a small 1 amp fuse for this. All I got to do then is fish the sensor lead out under the hood and get that mounted and get that connected. Okay, so I got the interior panels all buttoned up back on. I just need to get this wire out through the firewall. And see up there where I believe that's the hood release. That's the grommet I'm going to use to snake the wire through. And to get the wire through, I'm going to use this. This is an old car antenna. I slightly sharpened the tip on the end so it will poke through. One end is sharp, the other end is dull, depending on if I need a sharp or a dull end. And I just tape the wire to it. And I'm going to use this and poke through that grommet, and I'm going to fish it through the firewall. I'm going to go out real quick under the hood and just make sure see where it's coming through. So the grommet I'm popping through, it's right down there in the corner. There'll be plenty of access when my little special tool pops through there to pull it through. Okay, so we're poked through, and I'm just going to grab it and pull the wire through. Easy peasy, mama. Easy peasy. Let's go ahead and pull all the slack out. Right about there. That should be good. So now everything's finished inside, and then we'll start the wiring under the hood. Wiring's through the firewall. I put some convoluted tubing over the wire, some extra protection. Recycled it from my previous deinstall because I want this to be a $0 DIY. But I want to take a moment here and figure out how I'm going to route that wire from over there in that corner up into the nose. And looking real quick, I think I'm not going to go down this side because it's kind of tight. There's a heat shield over there, and I don't have to take out the coolant can or pull the air box just to run a wire down. It's going to be easier to wire tie it along the factory loom, come up and over, and then I'll get over by the battery here and I'll stop right there, so that way I can put the sensor in and I'll make the connection, the final connection, right over there by the battery. Next up is the sensor. The sensor did have like a little metal tang kind of bracket on it, but it got all rusty and I kind of just broke off the last little bit of it. I'm just going to wire tie this on somewhere. It doesn't have to be, super critical, as long as it's in place and this part's in the front nose of the car and away from like the radiator. So for the sensor up front, I just mounted it behind the license plate on one of those factory plastic ribs in the grill. Just a couple wire ties holds it on. It's not going anywhere, and it's got tubing on it, of course, and I was able to just kind of stick my hand through here and kind of tuck the tubing into the front nose. You might be able to see just a little, yep, there you can see just a little bit of it where it goes up in the very top corner. So I was able to get my hand in here and tuck it around and tuck it around this edge, make it all nice and neat in there. Alright, now I'm going to get to the final connections here under the hood. And then to just finish things up, I'll just connect these two looms together. Okay, all the wiring under the hood is complete. We're all done. And I just want to stress, when you do things like this, it takes hardly any time to do a crappy hack job, but it takes a little more time to do it nice. I always want to do it nice. I want to make it look like factory, like it's not even there. Remember, we popped through that grommet here. I'll give you a tour of the wiring route. There's a wire tie there. Right here, it goes through the factory loop, runs over through that other factory loop, comes down kind of by the cruise control here. You can see it right here, runs under, around the battery. There's even a loop down right there. I got it through that too as well. Kind of crazy. And over here in this corner, That's where it exits to go down in front for the sensor in front. That's the wiring route I took under the hood. You can hardly tell it's there. And that's just simply how I do it. Now that all the wiring's done, let's test her out. Flip the key on. And there we go. We got our compass, outside temperature. I've got map lights here, which I kind of like off the mirror, because in this car it's behind your head. You got to kind of reach for it. It's a little bit awkward. That haziness in the mirror I pretty much don't notice at all from the driver's seat, especially if I have sunglasses on. If I'm trying to look for it, I don't even see it. So I'm glad the way this all turned out. $0 DIY for me. It didn't cost me a penny to put this in the car because I had it on hand. And I know these work really well when the lights are shining from behind. This dims down, so you don't have to always kind of flip your mirror up and flip it down. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. And as always, thanks for watching.